I'd buy that for $1.
Hey, we're recording the podcast. Shut up.
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is for July 19th, 2024. Crushed it. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. It's Fishwife. How you doing, Ash? We're laughing. Ashley and I got the weirdest discussion the other day.
Well, it was
yesterday.
It was a discussion about mongers. Okay, so
and I innocently asked, "Is there a mongress?"
Right. So we're talking about the fact that there's, there's fishmonger, right? It was like an old timey. It seems like, although it turns out it's still used word for like someone who you can buy fish from. Or there's cheesemongers, or there's what were the other mongers we came up with?
It became in later years man. Like milkman was, it just became, monger was the word. I had a conjecture that maybe they called them mongers because they weren't of high enough status to call them masters.
But that doesn't make any sense because here they actually call, if you're too young to be a mister, they call you a master.
We're going to do a deep dive on mongers.
They'll be like, oh, young master fit. Anyway, you asked if there were mongresses. And I said, I think they just become wives. Like, right. This is a fishwife. So now I'm a fishwife.
Actually, you're not a fishwife because I have caught no fish yet, but it's okay. Back out fishing today.
Even worse, I'm a fishless wife.
You're just wife, no fish. And then I'm back at it Saturday. Hopes remain high, spirits remain high. I didn't have a full day of fishing. Let's just say that because we had a pox scare. We had a chicken pox scare. Someone close to the kids developed chicken pox, so we were on chicken pox alert, and we were dealing with that yesterday.
And it's funny how much that's changed too from when we were kids. I remember when I was young. First of all, I had chicken pox twice.
I don't think that's true.
I did. I got it once when I was like quite small, and apparently didn't get it bad enough, and I got it a second time, and that's not fun.
What's quite small?
I don't know, 2.
Okay. I don't remember having chicken pox because I had an older brother. Usually the way that worked was if your older siblings got it, then you got it. Did you give it to your younger siblings?
I don't know.
That's tradition.
I don't know. Possibly when I was 2, no, because I hadn't been born yet.
Were you a pox wife handing out poxes?
But I do remember there was a point, I think it was when I had it the second time, that everyone's like, it's like you want to bring your kids over, have a pox party. Because the idea was you wanted the kids to get chicken pox young, because if they, obviously not too young, or, they had to get it to a certain severity so you don't get it again.
With.
But it was get it over with because the younger, the quicker they heal and the easier it is, theoretically. But the idea was everyone gets chicken pox, you just have to. And that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Starting in, what was it, the 90s? You can get vaccines for chickenpox, so you never have to go through this.
The weird thing was, Ashley, that chickenpox vaccine has been around for a while, but it took a while, I guess, before people decided to start using it. So the chickenpox vaccine, also known as the varicella vaccine, was first introduced in 1984. That's how long that's been around.
It's like I just missed it.
Yeah. Commercially available in 1984. But, people don't tend to just immediately jump on the bandwagon with a new vaccine for kids. Unless, it's suggested by doctors and things like that. I guess it took a while. But by the time JD and Teddy were born, they were suggesting it. It was optional, but they were suggesting that they have it.
Yeah, the trick now is finding it in your records because it is usually listed as varicella. If you're looking for chicken pox, you're not going to find it.
It's just a general pox vaccine. Yeah, but it might sound weird to people, too, that they would just get kids together because it wasn't considered to be something that, very negative effects long terms on kids. So they would just get them together and just get it over with, essentially.
Yeah.
My dad, who's way older than me, I've talked about this before, they had a practicality to kids' medicine that I had never heard of before, where one of his siblings, he was one of 5, one of his siblings got tonsillitis.
Okay.
And so the doctor came to the house to take out the tonsils of the sibling. I never actually learned which sibling it was. And then he basically said, hey, since I'm taking out this kid's tonsils, why don't I just take them all out?
Oh my God.
Like, get a
no,
discount.
You get a bulk discount.
Isn't that insane? Like, they didn't have tonsillitis.
Just line them up. How pissed would you be at your sibling at that point? The reason that you don't know their name is probably because that sibling is dead to him.
Right. It's we got a deal on appendixes this week.
You didn't know this, Bernie, but he actually was one of 6.
You know how they knocked him out? Yeah, no, I never learned the true identity of this 6th sibling. But you know how they knocked him out back in those days? This is a long time ago.
Punch to the head?
Ether. He said they put like in a, it looked, the way he described it looked like a strainer that you would put over a jar for your little jams, but then they put a gauze in that, and then they put ether on that, and then put that over his mouth, like that whole like contraption over his mouth, like held it there until he fucking passed out. He said it sounded like a swarm of bees in his head, and then he doesn't remember anything except that he got to eat ice cream for a week.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
there's some logic to it, but these days, like, you would never put a kid through an unnecessary surgery just to save time and be more efficient. You know?
Right, like just because while I'm here.
Yeah, I guess so. And I don't really have anyone. There's no one left to verify that story
Does anyone
with.
need anything else removed while I'm here?
How pissed would you be?
It's going to
at
be
your
real
sibling?
expensive if I have to come back.
I get pissed when people give me a cold, Ashley.
Sore tooth?
Come on, bring it on. I can rub on my boxing gloves. Pachop. Don't you get pissed like when someone gets sick?
A little bit, but and I have to consciously talk myself down like, look, this is a thing that happens. It's fine. We'll get through it. It's not like people don't get sick maliciously.
I wonder if we have any like sociologists or psychologists in the audience who can explain if there is an actual term for when people try to hide their sickness. Never really understood that, but everyone does it. Where it's like, "Are you sick?" It's like, "No, it's just allergies." Like they're everyone's in a zombie movie and they just got bit or something. You know what I mean? Like people do that with everything. It seems like they try to hide it. It's like, why? What are we doing? We're not going to leave you behind in the herd or something like that. Get the fuck out of here. Go home. Rest. Have the day off. Save us all, for God's sake.
No, but while I'm here, anyone else that can get sick?
Yeah, so
let's get it all done at once, huh?
So we're trying to protect Evie at this point in time because if we can, keep her from getting chicken pox before she gets the vaccine, touch wood, that's the best course.
That's the dream.
At this point, we think that's the best course.
That's the dream. Speaking of dreams, Bernie. Speaking of dreams, the Russo brothers are returning to Marvel.
How do you feel about that? The Russo brothers are back in talks to direct Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. I don't really think of Endgame as Avengers 4, but I guess technically it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, it's yeah, look at, hey.
Also, how do you not count Captain America Civil War as
an Avengers movie? I know. It was an Avengers movie, like, it was two... It was 2 Avengers movies in a trench coat.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what it was. But so they're back to what was previously called the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, and now they're
Wars.
changing that. So I don't know how they're shifting direction for the series overall, but they did very, very well, I thought, with both Infinity War and with Endgame. Knocked it out of the park.
Hot take.
Yeah, right. No one agrees with me there, but I'm going to stand by it.
Can we just stop for a second, step back, and say, what a phenomenal run. Just as like an orchestrated piece of art, how they put that whole MCU together and paid it off to almost everyone's satisfaction over the course of 10 or 12 years.
Yeah, virtually an impossible thing to do, and they nailed it.
And it gathered steam. Man, I went back and watched the Avengers, like when they're in New York, and you see like the outfit Captain America's wearing, you're like, oh my God.
Look at you, dork.
I mean, it's pretty iffy. But it really did. They gathered steam all the way through to the end of that thing.
And I was, there was some skepticism at first. Like Iron Man obviously was great. I've never met anyone who watched Iron Man and didn't think Iron Man was a great movie. But then
you did. They'd be that 6th sibling and they'd be like out of your life forever. Done.
You'll never know their name. But then there's Captain America, the first Avenger, which initially I was skeptical about. Why would I want a period piece about a superhero who's in World War II? That movie was awesome.
Yeah, you like that one?
I I liked the original Thor. I feel like of all the arms, the branches, or all the roots, I guess, coming together, Thor was one of the weaker ones to start off with, but I still really liked it. It was fun fish out of water story.
Yeah. It's weird, though, too, because I think of Iron Man as being like the cornerstone of the whole MCU, but I think there's more Ant-Man movies at this point than there are Iron Man movies.
I mean, yeah, you are technically correct with Quantumania, right?
Definitely more Thor movies than there are Iron Man movies. I just wouldn't have thought that Thor, when it came out, would have been the one that has the most installments in the whole franchise, you know?
Yeah, but we'll see what ends up happening now that there's a couple of things going on. So Russo brothers, they're going to come back, and I'm like really excited because what they did with Infinity War Endgame, but also a little bit like, they also did The Gray Man.
Yeah, I was looking at...
They also executive produced Citadel.
Did you ever see Citadel? I know it wasn't received well. Yeah.
I watched every single episode.
Did you really?
And it has Stanley Tucci in it. And also it has...
Wow. I can't believe you would reveal that to me. I can't believe you go see a movie that we'd both be kind of interested in.
I'm repeatedly trying to get you to watch it with me. Don't even try it, especially not on Citadel. I explained to you in great detail every time I watch an episode.
All jokes
like,
in the morning.
Which spy tropes in this episode?
Here. I'm just having a joke. That's all I'm doing. Trying to get out of getting in trouble for watching Inside Out 2, which I like very much. People said I didn't say what my opinion was. I liked it very much.
Was it good?
It was good, but I don't want to get sidetracked on that with this. I did go and consult film Twitter and film Reddit about this announcement of the Russo brothers coming back. And the general consensus was actually along the lines of what you just said is, wow, Marvel needs this so much, and so do they. Like, it is like no one is really ahead in this. Everybody needs each other.
They both win.
Yeah, they both need a little, let's go back to the territory we know well and hopefully fucking deliver. Hopefully. Although I wonder at this point, like with all the stuff that's going on, when we talked about how the story built and steamrolled and gathered momentum, it also did that from a business perspective as well. Like Black Panther, when it came out, was huge. That was so late in the MCU. It still did phenomenally well, started setting records and things like that. Ant-Man did great. All these shows and movies did fantastic. I don't know that that's the case right now.
I would agree with you on that.
I hope they don't have to fight for money for this new Avengers.
Well, they were on a really positive trajectory, right? They were building momentum, and I don't think they have the same momentum now that they did then. So I think that it can be built, and I think that there are a couple of like building blocks in place that they're trying to get going again. One of them is that I know that they've already announced they're going to be trimming the slate. They're going to try and trim back more because I think that they acknowledge what we all acknowledge, which is that a lot of Disney series were starting to feel like homework. And that you didn't want to
see a picture of a guy.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. I accidentally clicked on a button here.
And then it's like, I don't want to watch this thing because there's all these characters in it, and I didn't watch that Disney show, and I'm not going to know what's going on. It felt like you had to do a lot of homework before you went to a movie.
No, I get that. But then it's kind of like that with the comics anyway. Or we get into that territory where they're like the comics, which is weird because Secret War is one of my favorite limited series of all time. The problem is the Secret War that I know is not the Secret Wars that this is all based on. This was part of all the reboots they did after I stopped reading comics. So I don't actually know what this Secret War is about.
Can I also just say that as someone who is not a comic reader from childhood, a lot of people who watch all these movies who helped to, with their eyeballs, build the momentum and help this whole franchise become the huge financial success that it is.
Go ahead.
Didn't read the comics.
No, that's fine.
You know?
But yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of people these days, right?
The majority of people,
I would imagine that most of the people who were watching the MCU, like Endgame and stuff like that, had read, I mean, maybe in passing read a comic, but we're like comic collectors and things like that.
Yeah, Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, so the original Secret Wars, and then we don't actually know what they're going to do with Avengers 5 because now Kang is kind of way up in the air. And it's interesting to me that they haven't even decided who's going to be
not in the
directing
picture
these
anymore.
movies. Possibly not even in the picture anymore. Although, why not recast that role? We've talked about this before. Secret Wars came out in 1984. And ran for 12 issues into 1985, but then there's another Secret Wars, which came out, vamping, this is my vamping voice, it came out in 2015 to 2016. And I don't think it's the same thing. The first one was about a godlike being called the Beyonder who decided to just like take chunks of planets and put them together. And I think it was called Battle World. And so it was literally just like putting all the heroes against all the villains. That's just what they did. It was like, instead of, having them team up here or there, they said, I'll throw them all together. People loved it.
So it was like an all-powerful 5-year-old just like going through the toy boxes and going fight, fight, fight with absolutely every mismatched toy imaginable.
Yeah. And in fact, there was a Secret Wars 2 that nobody talks about where he came to Earth and dressed like this like mid-80s like David Hasselhoff guy. He took on this form. It was really bizarre and wanted to live as a human. But that was really pivotal to the comics because that's where Spider-Man got his black costume, which ended up becoming the symbiote, which ended up becoming Venom.
Gotcha.
That's where all that started.
And then they become a Sony franchise.
Yeah, and then Sony gets involved and it all goes to hell in one way or another. Who was a better Venom for you?
Madam Web.
Get the fuck out of here. Who is better, Tom Hardy or Topher Grace?
Tom Hardy.
Some people like Topher Grace a lot, man. Some people.
And look, you can't put those two against each other. It's Tom Hardy.
Yeah. It's a different character altogether.
It is. They're completely different treatments on the character.
Yeah, one's a villain, one's an anti-hero. More that way. So we're excited. I'm excited about the Russos coming back. Hopefully everyone else is excited about it as well. All right, since we're talking about movies, you want to talk about the Emmys?
There's one thing that I want to finish out on since we're talking about Marvel, and that is that Xbox has announced a Deadpool and Wolverine controller. It's a Deadpool controller for the Xbox. Bernie, it is Deadpool's ass. It has
I saw a photo of it.
Butt cheeks on the bottom, like where your hands grip is butt cheeks. It's the most amazing like Deadpool. I can't even. I don't have the words for how appropriate this is to that franchise. Well, it's incredible.
If you think about the way it looks, the way you hold it, you're like literally like gripping the butt from the front.
Yeah,
like you're reaching around and gripping.
You just pull those cheeks apart.
And it's funny. Somebody did make a comment I saw that said something like, if this reaches the Overwatch community, it's all over for us. And
just think of the whole new line of controllers you might get.
It does feel once again, it's like if you see it, it's a guy character like Deadpool. It's very funny, right? That's funny. And everybody gets it. No, everybody's fine with it.
But we all remember the hoo-ha about Trazer's butt. And that would have been weird.
That would have been weird. That would have been a problem.
And yet, that's coming on Etsy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it already exists out there. You can probably buy that on like Wish.com or something like that. Or what was the old one? Redfin?
Oh,
all the bootleg stuff.
Yeah, Redbubble.
Redbubble. Yeah, was that what it was?
I think
back
so.
in the day, they used to have like every version of every shirt,
every knockoff thing, and like weird, stretchy, like not the right shape shirt.
While we're on this topic, can I do a little plug for the Patreon this weekend?
Please
and then give you a hot take as well. So last night, the final episode of the penultimate season of The Boys aired. And so we're going to watch it this weekend, do a little talk along with it, and it'll be spoilerific as well. So we'll be talking about the season as well. So if you're into The Boys, you should watch that along with us on the Patreon, or at some point in the future. Just remember, if you watch The Boys and you get to the end of season 4, come watch that as well.
We'll have a fun, full spoiler watch along episode for you to just keep you company while you watch.
So, can I just say something about The Boys since we're talking about the Deadpool controller and we're talking about The Boys? Can I say something? And I'm trying to think of the best way to say this because I'm worried that if I don't say this in the right way, it might come across as being a little bit piggish or sexist.
Okay, go ahead.
There's not enough tits in The Boys. Too many dicks in The Boys. The ratio's off, Ashley. No. I realized the ratio was out of balance historically. Like we had like 1,000 tits to 1 dick. We had to correct that. We've gone overboard. It's overboard.
No, Bernie, this series is doing exactly what it intends to do, which is lampooning the idea of like using like sex organs, but it flipped it, right?
Completely.
There are so many dicks in this show. So many dicks on screen.
Are you enjoying that? Is that great? Is it funny to finally have some parody?
Oh, I love it. I think it's hilarious. I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh, gross. But also,
So we'll be talking about the genital ratios in American film and television during this Boys Watch Long this weekend.
Stay tuned for that deep thought comment.
We should also probably mention the Emmys since we're talking about entertainment stuff. So the Emmy nominations came out this week.
Are we nominated again?
No, we didn't make the nominations this time.
But our show did.
Actually, in our milieu, Dropout did not get nominated. And they made a very public showing of the fact that they did.
They were going for it.
They did an Emmy campaign, which is basically, I guess, I don't really understand that. I'll be honest with you. There's a way that you can push for an Emmy. The largest award that we were ever nominated for was Red vs. Blue was nominated for a Producers Guild Award for the best web show. Like that was the most recognized, quote unquote, professional artistic award that we were ever nominated for. We lost to that other super popular online show, 30 Rock.
And that's how I learned that 30 Rock had webisodes.
And it's interesting because actually 30 Rock was part of this Emmys nomination because The Bear was nominated for 23 Emmys, which is now sets a record for the most nominations for a comedy series. We got to watch The Bear, by the way. Previously,
apparently it's hilarious.
That was held by 30 Rock. They had 22 nominations.
Okay,
they had that record for over a decade, I think.
Yeah, it's so weird to see something like The Bear nominated as a comedy because I don't feel like anyone who watches that show is like, yeah, love this show. Just busting a gut laughing every time I watch it.
I don't know anything about it, honestly. I know it's got the dude who looks like Gene Wilder's kid. I'm serious. Like he looks like a buff Gene Wilder. That's all I know about the show.
He kind of does.
Yeah.
I never saw that. No, I can't unsee it.
Do you know? Actually, I always think of when I see it. Do you remember there was a movie called Jack the Bear starring Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
So whenever people talk about the bear, I think of Danny
That's
DeVito as a
first
chef,
picture.
and I'm just like, I gotta watch this show. I gotta watch it. Is there anything else on the list? Because the Emmys, I think that's the purpose of awards. Personally, is that's an engine for discovery to say, hey, you should watch this show.
Yes. So you talked about the Bear breaking a record with 23 Emmy nominations. It specifically broke a comedy series record with its 23 nominations. Shogun got 25 nominations, but it's in the drama category. So that's a big one. That one, if you're in the U.S., is on HBO. If you're around the rest of the world, it's on something else. I'm sorry, it's not HBO. It's Max. For now, apparently there's talks that they might split those again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're now talking about potentially splitting streaming
Roll
versus
them up, split them
TV.
out.
Yeah, they're like, for optimization, like you fucking twats. Anyway.
Ashley, they're just adapting to a changing marketplace. But yeah, Shogun, we actually know somebody who works on Shogun. If
Who's
you're
that?
an old-time, long-standing member of the former, that feels weird to say it this way, former Rooster Teeth community, Count 3D, Dom, he works on Shogun.
Oh, that's dope.
I don't think I'm doxing him in any way. He puts it on his social media. So congratulations to Dom for
his Emmy nomination.
I'm curious. They didn't really say in any of the articles, at least I didn't see it. What's the record holder for dramatic Emmys? Because Shogun had way more than The Bear, and they weren't even talking about it being close to records or anything like that. So I guess dramatic shows tend to garner more Emmy nominations.
Well, let's see. Oh, no, it's, guess what? It is also a record-breaking 25 nominations.
Oh. Well, don't you feel like you were reading that more about The Bear over and over again?
I do feel like it came up about The Bear more, potentially because The Bear is maybe just coming back in, so more people are talking about it in general, or maybe because it's so many people are thrilled about its comedy performance.
Or maybe they just wanted to throw it in Tina Fey's face for that PGA Online award they won. A fucking break. It's nice to be able to go through an experience like that and not be bitter in any way whatsoever.
Good news for us, for sure.
Man, I remember that we went to that. That was such it was like cool red carpet and all that stuff. Matt and Anna looked fucking amazing, and Monty, remember Monty was there?
I do.
And he was just like, he's in full Monty mode.
Being cool, got like feathers on his suit.
Yeah, he just looked fucking awesome, man. He just like dressed in the nice, because he made a shift, right? Like it was the first couple years we worked with him, he was all like hoodies and denim jackets and stuff like that. And then just like, boom, something flipped in that guy. And he was just like flamboyant, dressing to the nines. It was just awesome to watch.
Yeah, it was like he blossomed.
We'll post some pictures from the red carpet from that in our linked up, or maybe on social or something like that. Yeah,
something.
Awesome.
We'll post them somewhere.
Yeah,
So
because we were nominated.
Keep an eye out somewhere.
I'd love to be able to tell you right off the top of my head what season we were nominated for. I didn't even know they even knew we had seasons. I think they just nominated the show, but it was right around like 9 and 10.
That would have been 2014.
Because we were dating at the time.
We were.
Yeah.
So that was 2013, 2014.
Yeah. So it would have been, right about there. But, 30 Rock robbed our joy from us.
So congrats, 30 Rock. But Amazing Race is nominated again.
What's that?
Amazing Race is nominated again.
How many Emmy? We went over to the casting director for Amazing Race. We went over to her house to watch the finale for our season. And it was just like, I've never seen so many trophies in my life, Ashley.
Look, if you're looking for murder weapons, like fancy murder weapons, dude, the houses full of trophies are just a prime target.
I do feel like there's people where you either don't have a major award or you've got like 15 of them, right? Does it feel like that? It's like feast for famine in that industry.
You just toss it in the closet with the rest of them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Have any of the Marvel movies ever been nominated for an Oscar off the top of your head? Do you remember anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think maybe one.
There's a bit of, particularly early on, and I feel like it's changed a lot since they are such big deals now, both commercially and I feel critically. But there was like a bit of snobbery about superhero movies. Like they were never considered for awards of any kind.
A lot of visual effects ones. There was Black Panther got nominated for costume design as well, but I'm trying to think of like any of besides some of the artistic categories. Wakanda Forever supporting actress Angela Bassett. There was one in there.
First one, yeah.
There was one in there. She was nominated for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Angela Bassett. Yeah, that was a big deal because she was the first person ever to have a performance in an MCU movie and then be nominated for an Academy Award.
Which, I mean, considering she's amazing. She's incredible. But when you consider as well the sheer number of really well-known, really well-considered actors and actresses in the MCU, that's mind-boggling. I thought that it took until Wakanda Forever for an actor to be considered.
Yeah, but sometimes with these like kind of popcorn movies, things that are big popular hits, like say Lord of the Rings, they kind of wait until they get to the last one and then they load them up. You know what I mean? I was expecting that with Endgame.
I hear they do that with things like Emmys as well. Like for like television awards, a lot of times they'll like bank them and then on the last season of a long running series, they'll finally give them awards.
Yeah, while we're talking about TV stuff and people who've won tons of awards, Bob Newhart died. That's a bummer. He's a little bit before almost everybody who would be listening to this time.
But you know the name.
Including kind of my own, honestly. But yeah, he was a pillar of the industry. Like people love the Newhart show. I think I talked previously about how he did a really cool ending for his Newhart show in the 80s where he was running a little inn in New England. And then he went to sleep and woke up on the set of his old show from the 70s where he was a therapist. And that was like a really cool way, weird way to end that show. But everyone really appreciated it. It didn't feel like a cop-out or anything like that. So rest in peace, Bob Newhart. You will be remembered well in the annals of American television. All right, well, let's end on a more positive note. Ashley, is there anyone that we should be thanking for making this week's episodes of Morning Somewhere possible?
Yes, for our awards today, I am nominating Hunter Clark and Joshua Parks, our sponsors for this episode of Morning Somewhere at patreon.com/Morning Somewhere. Thanks, guys.
Well, Ashley, I endorse your nomination and they have my vote. All right, well, that does it for us this week, ending July 19th, 2024. We will be back to talk to you on Monday. We hope you all will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.